Hi, this is Mahesh Ravi, and in this video, we're going to take a look at how did I approach the redesign of IRCTC website. This was a project that I've made for my students, and I wanted to share a couple of very important things. If you are a designer, you might find this very useful, so let's get into it.
All that warm sounds to me so nice. All that warm sounds to me so
Whenever you're going to take a redesign project, there are certain parameters of design that you need to especially check out. The first one is functionality. What is the main goal of that design? There could be one main goal, or there could be multiple goals that the website is providing to you. So in IRCTC's case, it is booking the ticket, checking a train schedule. You can check your PNR status, and you can definitely apply certain quotas and things like that. So that's the functionality part, right? What does it actually do? The second parameter is the aesthetics of the design. So what is the superficial appeal of that website? Is it engaging? Is it pleasing to look at? Is it comfortable to stare at for a certain amount of time? Are the colors working? Are the typography working? Is the spacing of the typography working? All of this decides the appeal of that website. The third factor is the standards. So how familiar this design will be to the regular users, how similar it is to the functionality of the other websites that they are used to. So what is the standardization of this particular website? Where are the buttons located? Is it in the usual position? Are they using the usual colors for positive and negative signs? So all of this will come under standards. The last one is affordance. How clear the touch points are in your design. Touch points are the areas or the spots where the user can interact with your design. So a button is a touch point, a link is a touch point, a text field is a touch point. So the clarity of a touch point is affordance. Now, when you are actually approaching a redesign project, you have to think of all these things: functionality, aesthetics, standards, and affordance. Once again, functionality is the main goals that somebody can do in that website, the main actions. Aesthetics is the appeal of that design. Standards is the familiarity that design has. And affordance is the clarity of its touch points. So when you're designing, or especially when you're taking up a redesign project, it's very important that you're fixing the errors in all these parameters and you are improving them. So it cannot be just the same, then there is no point of redesigning. So you've fixed all the errors, that's just error correction, but redesign actually means that you have improved the functionality, aesthetics, standards, and affordance. So now let's take a look at the current website that IRCTC has, and let's study that. There are a couple of errors that will immediately capture our attention. So one such thing that I've noticed immediately, definitely the aesthetics will capture our attention first. So the usage of the typefaces, it is not working. The spacing, the line spacing, the character spacing, generally the entire typography choices that they are using is not basically working. It doesn't actually offer any sort of appeal to the design. Now, you might ask, why is aesthetics important here? Because this is a ticket booking site, so they can just go in and then book the tickets easily. But here is a problem. There is something called aesthetic usability effect. If the aesthetics of a design is good, people will automatically start to believe that the design is good, the functionality is good, and then their experience is going to be much better. So that's a universal law. So you cannot ignore aesthetics in any kind of design. Another thing is that when the design is slightly off, the visuals are off, especially typography and all that, these errors might enter your subconscious mind, and it will trigger you that there is something wrong in the website. So yeah, so this is not working. Again, from the aesthetic point of view, the image is not a good image. we can understand the goal of it. Like, okay, it's promoting Vande Bharat train, but the whole idea of quality of an image as a photographic composition, what kind of image is actually there and all that, it's not working out, and it's sort of distracting you from the main action, which is this particular box. So I wouldn't say that it's a good image choice. Now, another thing, when you go a little closer, so let's say we are going to go a little closer to the design, and we're going to take a look at this particular modal where you actually book tickets. So the problems that I see here is that there is a from here, and then to is actually under this, right? So what there might be a slight confusion where you basically read from left to right. And when you are actually reading or looking through these boxes, you sort of expect the to be somewhere here, not here, right? So you want to type the from here and then to here. So I'm not very sure about this positioning where it's actually sort of coming like this. So I would have done this horizontally. The date option is right here, but again, one other thing that I really don't understand is that the only way that you can actually enter the date is by clicking on the calendar and choosing it manually from there. But let's say if I think I would say that 80% of people who go to this website will already know what date they want to travel. So if there was an option where they can directly enter the date here and then search, it will actually save a lot of time for them. But alternatively, this option can also be there where they want to just go click on an year, then choose a month and then a date. But if you already know the date, it will save a lot of time. Now, another thing that I've noticed is that the whole affordance, right, the clarity of a touch point in drop downs are comparatively much lower, right, than the other ways that you can actually present an option to people. So when you click on this button, it is going to show all the options in here. So here there is a disparity. I'll tell you what. Here it is actually showing the title of this drop down. So all classes is actually here. So if you click on it, you'll see sleeper class, AC and all that. But can you see the difference of how they have used the title here? In this, it is not a title, it is the first entry of the drop down, general, then Talkal, premium Talkal and all that. So there is already a difference in the way that the drop downs are used in here. Unnecessarily, it will confuse people. The clarity of that affordance is very low. So that's one other problem that I've realized. Now, see, this, you might actually feel at first that this is an interesting option, right? You search from and then you write the to place, and then you can flip this and maybe look for the return tickets and all that stuff. But here is a catch. When you write the from and to, you engage on with the search, then this page is refreshed. You are not going to get this page back. So when you come back, this data that you have entered is gone. Then what is the point of having this button? Because there's no way that you will actually get to use this at any point of time, because you have entered from to, then you have to click search, then this page is gone. So at what point will you use this button is still a question. I don't understand. It's just confusing. Maybe you have the only use case is that you have written the from address wrong and the to address wrong. Then you realized it before clicking on search. You can click on this and reverse this. But that is a very rare occurrence, if I think so. Now, if you come down, there are these checkboxes. One thing that bothers me is the way that this is presented. So these are all aligned, and then there is this thing which is sort of like off. I don't understand that. Now, another problem here in this is that these two, let's say person with disability concession and railway pass concession, is something which is related to the quota, and flexible with date and train with available berth is related to the search. So these two options are related to the search, and the previous two ones are related to the quota that you're looking at. But it's sort of like messed up, right? So everything is actually mixed together. So there is no proper category. Then again, it actually creates a problem in the affordance of it. So if this was segregated, let's say the concessions was in one point, and then the search options, these are basically search filters, was closer to the search, it would have worked really well. Another major problem that you see in this model is the similarity and the positioning of these two buttons. Usually what happens is that this is why I told you about the standards, right? So in a regular site, whenever we book a form, the search or the submit button is on the right side. not on the left side. This side usually is for back or reset or something like that. So normally what happens is that when you search all of this, when you want to click on search, your muscle memory will sort of push you to click on this button, because that's how we are used to. Like every submit button, every search button is on the right side of things. But what happens if you click on this is that the entire thing will go off and it will open a chat bot. Then you have to do chat with that bot about the tickets and all that. That's not what people actually at this stage they don't want that, right? So they want to click on the search button. So the confusion is actually then the positioning. The color also is confusing. Using the similar color for all these buttons might actually be a problem. So that's also something which is a problematic scenario. If you come down, the whole alignment of this text, as I told you, the type arrangement, the hierarchy of this, it doesn't work. Now, something that when we are talking about it, if you come down here, you can see that there is this chat option, which is right here. And then there is a deal of the day button, which is both sort of, placed against a very contrasty background, and it doesn't actually suit any of the other elements in the design. So aesthetics doesn't work. This is an ad, so we don't have to think about this stuff right now, but this doesn't work with the rest of the stuff. Now, another very, very important and a critical thing that I wanted to say here is that when we were looking at this model, we actually ignored two things, which is this. There is PNR status and there is a chart vacancy button right here. We ignored it because we thought that this is a heading for this model, right? This is something which has to do with this model and it doesn't have any function. That is the way it is designed. So it is not our fault. It is basically the designer's fault that they actually made it very, even though it is on the top, even though it is in capital letters and all that, nobody is going to notice this, right? So this main functionality, it's a goal that you can check your PNR status and chart vacancy. Because of the positioning, because of the color scheme, nobody will know to do this. I have seen people who always use a third-party site to check their PNR status when it is right there in this website itself. So these are the errors. One other thing that I've noticed is the logo placement on both the sides of this. It is confusing. We don't understand. Basically, this is the logo for the site, and this is the mother department of this. So this is the Indian government railway scheme, and this is IRCTC. So this basically is something which belongs to this. And that hierarchy is actually not there in the logo placement. This is a burger menu icon. There are so many options inside it. But one thing that they have put in inside this is the login button, right? Which is sort of really strange, because unless you log in, you will not be able to book a ticket, right? So you have to click here, click on login, and then do all of these things. So why is it inside? Why is it hidden? You could have actually placed it somewhere here, or maybe made it easy, but that's not there. So I hope you understood the problems in here, and basically you can list out now what are the things that you have to fix, right? So all these points will actually become points that you are supposed to fix. So we have to fix the content hierarchy. This is how people should see the stuff. These are the issues that we just discussed, and we have to sort of fix all of that. So it is a good idea to start with a rough layout, maybe a wireframe, something like this to start with. More than enough, right? You have all your points, so you have numbered all the errors, and then just put a number there that this is where it is going to go, this is where the image is going to be, this is where the other goals are going to be, and everything is going to be clear. And when a person goes into it, we are going to respect that user. We are going to make everything available to them really easy. So that's how you should approach a redesign project. Now that we have a basic structure here, let's go and build a design really quickly, and we'll talk about that. So we'll head over to Figma. Right. So we're done with the redesign. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at what we actually fixed in here. So this is the original website, and this is the redesigned website. Now, all the things that we have spoken about, right, the hierarchy of the content and all that, I've tried to fix it, fix the errors that we have identified and make it a little better. So if you look at this, you can see the model is very clear right now. So whoever comes to this website, they will see this particular unit and they will know everything about how to function with that. Now, if you go closer, book your tickets, that the title is very clear here. They can have the date right on top. So they can actually start with the date if they want. They can choose the date. They can directly write the date in, or they can click on this and they can choose the date from the calendar as we were discussing. Then the from to, we made it horizontal. So from is here, then to, you can actually choose from here. Then what I've done is the quotas that we have, I actually made it into nuggets instead of drop downs. I made it easy nuggets that they can quickly consume. So when they go here, they can just click and select whatever class that they want. They can actually choose the quota that they want to travel in, and they also can choose the concession that they have. Now, the two other options of search filters, I've added it near to the search button. Very clear. So show only available trains, show trains from closer dates. I've also rephrased the sentences a little bit so that it's more clear to the user. Now the other button which was confused, which was sort of confused with search button, I've added it right here next to it because that's an AI chatbot and the functionality of that is very similar to this chatbot. So I've put that window right there. You can basically see that I have only added one logo and the parent info, I have added it as a text right here. Now another two goals in here, I've added it on the top. Check your PNR status and check the chart is right there as two separate action buttons. You can also see that there is the login profile section, which is independent of the burger menu that you can click here and log in, sign up, and then you can proceed with the ticket booking right here. It will show all that stuff. Whatever you need is right here, easy to consume, right? Aesthetically, it is improved with the use of the right colors, right imagery, right functional aesthetics of a utilitarian design style. It actually makes it comfortable for the user to use. So this is the final design that we have done. So once again, the whole exercise was created to make you understand the importance of functionality, aesthetics, standards, and affordance when it comes to redesigning any already existing projects, right? So I hope this made some sense and I will see you soon with another video. Till then, bye.